And even before we make changes to sudo's file, the first thing which we have to do is we have to set up SSHD configuration. And in order to set up SSHD configuration, we will open SSHD config file and we will make a passwordless authentication. Password authentication. Now, in order to do that, let's open the file and please pay attention here because this is quite the important thing. I've seen in many of the situations where students miss out important step, and when they try to execute Ansible command to check for SSH setup connectivity or the agentless connectivity, it doesn't work. So yes, this will be pretty much important. The first thing which I'll do is I will open SSHD config file, which will be etc ssh sshd config, and here let's look for password authentication. Now, if you'll scroll down, you'll see a place where it says password authentication as no. Just change it, and or if you can see the line above already says we do have something which says password authentication as yes. So comment out the line which says password authentication as no and uncomment line which says password authentication as yes. Save and come out of it. This is the first thing which you have to do. Once you do this, the another thing which you have to do is you have to create one user. And as of now, if you can see, I'm just on master machine. You remember this? Till the time here it says master, I'm on master machine. And as I'll switch from master to agent, it will start showing agent here. As of now, I am just on master machine. The first thing which we have done is we have done SSHD configuration. Another thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to create one test user. In order to create a user, in case of Linux, we execute the command user add, and I'll give it a name Ansible. You can give any name of your choice. I'm just giving a name Ansible. And after that, I'll set a password as well. So password Ansible, and give it a password to it. Ansible. I'm just giving a password, quite a kind of dummy password, which is Ansible user and Ansible password. Now the time comes when you have to set up the sudoers file. In order to set up the sudoers file, next thing which you will do is you will open the sudoers file, which is etc sudoers. Now, when I open the sudoers file, the next thing which I have to do is I'll just come down and I'll add the user which I've created with sudo's privileges. Now here I'll add the user. The user which I've created just now is Ansible. And in order to add the sudo's, I'll say all equals no password colon all. So this will be the convention, or this will be the way by means of which I'll assign sudo user privileges along with no passwordless authentication to Ansible user which I've created, because the connectivity is going to happen by using Ansible user only. And that is the reason I'll use Ansible user. I'll create Ansible user in the first place, and then I'll assign passwordless authentication to Ansible user. Save and come out of it. And here I've just saved and I came out of it, and it is something which talks about having the root user sudo user permission. So I'm going to do that as well. Saved and came out of it. So once it's saved and once I came out of it, now it is having sudoers privileges. It is having no passwordless authentication, and we have to do quite the same thing in other machine also. But even before we do that, since we have altered SSHD file, I'll restart SSHD. In order to do that, I'll execute the command systemctl restart SSHD. Hit enter and restart. Done. Next thing which I'll do is I'll install EPEL release, because Ansible is a software is not available in default default software inventory of Linux machine. For that, I have to pull in another inventory of software, which is EPEL. In case of Amazon, we say it as Uh, there are different commands for different sort of OS instances. For example, in case of normal OS instance like Red Hat or say CentOS or APT, the command will be to install any of the EPL release, or to just list down or to bring in all the softwares which is a part of EPL release, will simply execute the command to install it. But in case of Amazon, syntax is different. Let's say it will prompt by its own. So you don't worry, you don't need to worry about that lengthy command which Amazon offers. You just execute the command which you understand. Amazon by itself will give you the command which is needed to be executed. So in case if you don't remember, just type am install epl dash release, and then I type, Amazon gives the command by its own. It says that nothing to do, no package EPL release available. EPL release is available in Amazon Linux topic EPL, and then this is the command which it gives you. As it gives you, just copy and paste it. As you paste, hit enter, and as you're hitting enter, it will give you entire list of all the software which is a part of it. Type Y when it prompts for a YD or N, and then it gives you this list. And as it gives you this list, basically you'll have now flexibility to install Ansible in your machine. Now you have to, next thing which you have to do is you just have to execute the command to install Ansible, so that it is going to install Ansible for you. Because you see, it is already giving you a place where you can install Ansible, and Ansible versions 2.4.2, 2.4.6, 2.8, which are the stable version of Ansible, will be installed automatically. Now, next thing which you have to do is you have to execute the command to install Ansible. Now, in order to install Ansible, execute the command yum install Ansible -y. And when you execute this command, basically you are installing Ansible. Just give it some time, automatically it will install Ansible. Okay, till the time it's installing, it doesn't take much of the time, like the way you can see now. Ansible is installed. Now, next thing which you have to do is you have to set up your inventory. In order to set up your inventory, next thing which you have to do is you have to go to the inventory file, and you will have to set up, you have to create a host group. Ansible offers a wonderful feature wherein you can group together all your servers, and you will form a host group which you can later publish, which you can later use to put all your servers and categorize it in a group. In order to do that, I will open the host file, open the file where I can do host level configurations. And in order to do that, I'll say vi etc/ Ansible hosts. And here I will create a host group. Let's create a host group. I'll give it a name to host group, say web servers. And here I'll put the private IP address. Remember, I'm putting the private IP address, and there is a reason for it. Because in case if I give a public IP address, then as I restart my instance, automatically public IP address changes, which I don't want to do. I want to have my IP address as a static one, and that is the reason I'm providing a I'm putting a private IP address here. Once this is done, I'll go to my agent machine and repeat quite the setup, but I don't want to install Ansible agent there, because Ansible is the agentless configuration. In Ansible, we perform agentless configuration, but we'll repeat those setup of SSH, HD config and everything at this place also. So in order to do that, I will open the same software SSHD config, and I will look for the same password authentication, and I will comment out the part which says no, and I'll uncomment the part which says yes. Save, come out. Next thing, I'll go to sudo's file in this also. I'll go to all, I'll create the user first. I'll say user add Ansible, and as I'm done with the user creation, I'll say password Ansible, and I'll just use any password, and same password I'll retype, and here it's done. I'll go to sudo's file, and here I will again repeat quite the same thing, where I'll say Ansible. And next thing after Ansible, we have to just assign sudo's privileges, for which I will say all equals to no password colon and Ansible all equals to no password colon all, right? Quite in the similar way, like the way we have done before, and make it all block. Okay, no password colon all. This setup is done. As this is a secure one, you have to put exclamation sign. After you're done with this, restart SSHD, systemctl, restart SSHD. Done. Now, these configurations I have done in agent. You see, in agent, I did not install any Ansible software. Neither I've defined those host uh, group configurations, or I've added the private IP address of my master machine in case of Ansible while I was executing commands there on Ansible machine. Next thing, again, I'll come back to master. I would like to clear my screen. And after that, I will switch and I'll become Ansible user. And as of now, you see, I'm root user on master machine, and post execution of command, I'll switch and I'll become Ansible user. And I'll become Ansible user. Now you see, I'm Ansible user in master machine. Next thing which I'll do is I'll generate the password and I'll share that I'll generate SSH key, and I'll share that SSH key along with my all the connected agent server. In order to create SSH key, I'll execute the command ssh-keygen, hit enter. It's asking for the file name. I'll keep it default. Uh, Everything I'll keep default. And yes, it's been created now. Post that, I'll execute the command ssh-copy-id, and I'll give the name of my user which I've created on this machine as well as in my remote machine. I'll say Ansible, and after that I'll have to give the private IP address of my agent machine, because that is what I've defined there in my remote machine. SSH ID, or you can give -i as well, which points to inventory configuration, and you say yes to it. As you say yes to it, it will ask for the password only for the first time. You just type Ansible, which is my password, and as you can see what it says, number of key added is 1, and SSH connectivity is set. In order to test in case if SSH connectivity is set or not, just copy this command and type it here. As you hit enter, now you see it became Ansible agent. Now from Ansible master, you are able to switch and become to Ansible agent without asking for a password. In order to come back, hit exit, and as you hit exit, it again becomes Ansible master. Now clear the screen, and this time you have to check in case if Ansible is able to connect with your agent machine or not. In order to do that, execute the command ansible-m ping and say web servers, because that is your host group which you've created. Hit enter, and it should say ping, and ping should turn to pong. And as if ping turns to pong, it basically shows that the connection is established. This is the way you will set up connectivity. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay with me, and in our next videos, we will talk more about